So this is death row inmate Taylor Parker, who went to extreme lengths to cover up her lies. She even killed a pregnant woman in order to steal the baby from her womb just to prove she was really pregnant. So picture here we have Taylor and her boyfriend Wade, and what appears to be a baby bump. What later is found out is just an actual prosthetic baby bump, not a real one. She was covering up this entire time, pretending to be pregnant so that Wade would not leave her. Now, she couldn't have gotten pregnant because she had a hysterectomy several years earlier, but Wade was unaware of this. Well, that's where Reagan comes into play, because Reagan actually was pregnant around the same time that Taylor said she was pregnant. And she knew Reagan because she had been a photographer at Reagan's wedding. Now, Taylor's perpetrating this lie the entire time, so even holding a gender reveal party and going to ultrasound, sending fake images to her boyfriend. He never gets to go into the doctor's office. She keeps telling him, oh, sorry, it's COVID. You're not allowed to go back there. So he begins to grow a little suspicious of the whole thing, especially after when the day she was supposed to be induced, his house catches on fire and a bomb threat at the hospital they were supposed to be induced at occurs. And then she becomes 3 weeks late on her pregnancy. That's when Wade's mother pulls him aside and says, I actually think you're onto something. She's probably not pregnant. Wade confronts her once again about the whole thing, and she says, watch, I'm going to get induced at a hospital in Oklahoma, and you will see. So Friday, she sets up an appointment to be induced. So that morning, Wade actually goes to a hog sale because he was supposed to go down to this sale about 4 hours from their house, come back, drive her to the hospital, and watch the baby be induced. Well, ends up being that he goes there, and it was a false. She had set this up for him to actually go to this hog hunt so she could go see Reagan and murder her, and she does. Sadly, she goes over to her friend's house, attacks her, stabs her with a scalpel that she had over 100 times while her little daughter is standing right there. Then she cuts open her stomach and extracts the baby from it and rushes towards the hospital. She gets pulled over for speeding and says, hey, look, I just had this baby. It's unresponsive. Help me, help me. She had actually tucked the umbilical cord into her pants to make it look like the baby was still attached to her. But the hospital staff begins to grow suspect as she refuses to be checked at all, and the baby shows up dead, and they actually heard that there was a baby that was abducted from another murder victim after the mother of Reagan showed up and found her daughter with 100 stab wounds. Sadly, at court, all this web of lies comes out. Reagan and the baby were killed. She was sentenced to murder and sentenced to death in Texas, where she currently sits on death row awaiting execution.